Hey folks, welcome to an abbreviated version of the MMA podcast. I'm Karyn Bryant.
What's up, everyone? Alan Jouban here as well.
Yeah, so we're just going a little quicker. Alan and I were both filming UFC Now on Mondays. By the way, available on Fight Pass. And we had Ken Flo with us on Monday, which was really fun. But so we couldn't do the podcast. We wanted to do something today, and maybe we'll just focus just on those 3 title fights, huh?
Yeah, I mean, big card coming up, obviously, but the 3 biggest fights on the card, all title fights, all pretty fun fights. So let's just kind of break those down for everyone.
Cool. All right. Well, let's start with the ladies. Amanda Nunes versus Germaine de Randamie. A lot of people call Amanda the baddest woman on the planet, the most fierce woman on the planet, after she defeated Chris Cyborg, which was essentially a year ago. Because I was going to put that in, for the knockouts of the year. I was like, oh, man, when Amanda took out Chris, but it was actually, of 2018. But so obviously when she did that, that was such an incredible fight, an incredible achievement for Amanda. A lot of people already said that she was going to be the GOAT. Of course, we know with Germaine, she was the 145-pound champion. The rumor is that she declined fighting Chris, was stripped, that kind of thing, whatever. I like both these ladies a lot, and I really don't want to pick in this fight. So, Alan, why don't you talk about it a little more and break it down? I can do a breakdown, but I can't pick this one. I like both ladies too much.
I'll take the heat on this one. But I have a feeling I know which way you're going to side with in voting anyway.
Yeah.
With that said, I think my pick would be the obvious pick with most people, and that's got to go with the champion, Amanda Nunes. The thing about her is she's got such long arms, and it's backed up with such power behind it, and she's able to stand in the pocket. And not only does she have the power in the right hand and the pressure and the arm length, but we're seeing different elements to her game now. She finished Holly Holm, of all people, with a head kick. So it's not saying like she just added kicks into her game. She's been kicking, right? But now she's using them. She's finding times and setting them up, and she's getting more and more comfortable with it. Germaine de Randamie, I've always really liked her. She's kind of reminded me of a kind of a Muay Thai style in a way.
She's kickboxer,
kickboxing style. And traditional Muay Thai is very kind of like 1 or 2 strikes at a time, full power. Whereas Dutch kickboxing would be more like combination work. You're finishing with a kick. Taekwondo would be, or karate would be, not always putting every power into it, more of a blitz. But with Germaine, you take the fight with Germaine de Randamie and Holly Holm. It was very closely contested, the fight, if you remember that fight. And some people had that fight for Holly, but I had it for Germaine because of the power. She was able to have more definitive power shots landed. You knew when Germaine landed. The problem with that is, Karyn, is think about Germaine sitting in the pocket and trading power for power with the baddest woman on the planet who we've seen, who could knock out Cyborg in one punch. So I feel like that's where the problem lies. I like both women. I love both of the women's style. Yeah. But if you sit in the pocket, they both have long arms.
I was just going to say, they're both very long.
Germaine is a very long fighter, so I give her a check in that category. But the power has to side with Amanda Nunes. And although Germaine hits very hard, she doesn't have that invisible power that Amanda does. Germaine hits you and it looks like it hurt. It makes a sound like it hurts. And people they get hit like it hurt. But when Amanda hits you, people go to sleep, and there's a difference in that. And so if you sit in the pocket, I think that's what we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see a finish in this fight. Love both women, but I think if they do decide to stand and trade, Amanda gets it done somewhere in the second or third.
Yeah, I mean, I don't bet against Amanda Nunes. I don't bet against Amanda Nunes is really what it comes down to. You know what I mean? I think she's incredible. I really don't bet against her. But I think that Germaine does have some things that she can use that other women haven't had. Like you were saying, the length, that asset of the reach, if she uses it well. She's also got incredibly long legs. I joked with Germaine that I was going to put a picture up of her legs on my fridge as dream legs, because I'm 5'8". I think she's 5'9.5", maybe even 5'10" or so.
Yeah.
But Germaine's legs go from yesterday. You know what I mean? They're amazing, and she has such. She's very agile with that. You know what I mean? She's a true 8-point striker with that. So with that body. So I do believe in her against a lot of other people. It's just that all the stuff that you were saying too about Amanda, the intensity, the ferocity, the power, all of that. Interesting thing with Germaine de Randamie, the fight with Holly Holm. A lot of people are mad about the shot after the bell, and they kind of were calling her a dirty fighter and stuff, which is crazy to me because I never have thought of Germaine de Randamie as a dirty fighter. I haven't thought of her as a dirty anything. She's a very, very nice woman. And I guess today, even at the press thing, she was talking about, bringing the belt back for Europe and everything. Like this is a woman who very smiley, very upbeat, and even in tough times of her career or whatever, she's always stayed very positive. She has what is her mantra? Something I love. She said, "I'd rather die with memories than with regrets," I think is her saying. If it isn't, I just made that one up. But I agree with that one too. But yeah, no, she's a positive woman. Amanda has done some great things as a champion, obviously, and she's obviously just a role model in a lot of ways for a lot of young women. So it's a great fight. My question to you, I guess, would be in this one is, do you think Amanda will try to take it to the canvas? Because I guess my question is, with both of them being tall, both of them being able to strike very well, the advantage could maybe be somewhere on the canvas.
Yeah, I think there would be an advantage on the canvas for Amanda. I think she'd be the stronger athlete there. But I kind of feel like if I'm Germaine de Randamie going into this fight, I want to kind of play a Joshua Ruiz 2 game plan, meaning Joshua stayed on the outside and picked them apart.
Right.
Not comparing the body types, but for
right.
stylistically, yeah, exactly. I mean, Nunes and Ruiz. But for Germaine de Randamie, I don't think she wants to sit in the pocket. I don't think she wants to trade. If I was her, I'd be going in there trying to use that length, use those long legs, as you said, to kick her, to teep her, to find the counter shot, to try to get Amanda Nunes maybe a little frustrated or caught off guard. If Amanda Nunes is in punching range and your back is on the cage, not only you're vulnerable to getting knocked out, but you're susceptible to takedowns. And that's where, yes, I would agree with you. I would implement the takedowns. I would hit her with some shots, make her fear the punches, and then shoot in and try to take her down, and she could finish her there with ground and pound. May not be as beautiful of a knockout as some fans might want, but she would get the job done. I believe if Amanda got on top of her more than 1 or 2 times, Amanda can finish fights on the ground as well. She's got that type of power. But yes, it would be, to answer your question somewhat, I think it depends on how the range of this fight takes place. If Germaine is playing the outside game, fighting very long and staying mobile, it's going to be hard. It's going to be very tough for Amanda to close that distance for punches, but yet alone to take her down for a shot as well.
Yeah, I mean, we saw how quickly Germaine took out Aspen Ladd. I know Aspen was, tried to appeal that, but it was a straight shot. It was beautiful. It was fast. I mean, Germaine, and she commits very well to everything. The thing about the canvas, Amanda was submitted years ago. That was a long time ago, though, because before people used to think that's where Amanda was vulnerable, was on the ground. But
who was she submitted by?
Wasn't it Kat? Didn't Kat beat her by submission?
Well, I remember that fight. I know Kat beat her, and Kat took her down numerous times, but I don't know if she submitted her. I thought it was a decision. I could be wrong. She might have submitted her.
All right. Well, I do remember the takedown and all that. Let me just double check her, because I feel like there was one, and everybody out right now is she's lost 3 times by submission. Wow. Everybody right out there is like yelling right now. They're screaming the name because, listen, folks, here's what you have to remember. We cover a lot of fights, and I can't remember every single thing that happens, and Alan gets punched in the head from time to time.
A lot. The thing about those fights is, as you said, those were a long time ago.
Right.
Not only has her jiu-jitsu improved, but I feel like her body type has improved. She's a much bigger, stronger woman now than she was 5 years ago.
Kat beat her by TKO. It was TKO for Kat.
For Kat, yeah, that was a. When I think about that fight, I don't even see the same person when I see Amanda Nunes. Kat was shucking her down in a headlock and doing kind of like a hip throw. She would throw her down repeatedly like that and get on top and keep that pressure now. And I don't think Amanda was just at that level of the game just yet. She was still kind of growing as a fighter. I think she's filled all those holes. I don't think we'll see anything like that. Everybody's always susceptible to getting submitted, but I feel like she is the higher caliber grappler in this fight.
Yeah, the submission was way early in her career. First loss, all that stuff. So yeah, on that one, tending toward and still, but I think it'll be a really good fight.
I agree.
Okay, so then we have Alexander Volkanovski versus Max Holloway. And again, now we're starting to get into, these two anyway. Max is a guy that I also find very difficult to bet against. And again, when we're talking about this, obviously it's all it's not personal or anything like that, because you and I both love Brian Ortega. Well, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not like we ever are saying we're rooting against him or rooting for him, but just with what Max has already done in his career, and I think he's going to be massive on Saturday compared to Alex.
Yeah.
Alex, obviously a former rugby player, and I don't want to try to make it sound like I'm just writing him off like some little guy, because he's totally not that. But we've seen how big Max can get between fights. We just know on fight night, like, he's going to be so tall, lanky, and he just is so effective. The amount of significant strikes, he's the leader by a big margin in the UFC. He's just so well versed, and I just find him so hard to beat. I don't really know where Alexander would have the advantages in that fight.
I agree. As opposed to the last fight where I said I see a finish happening with Amanda Nunes and Germaine Randamie. Whoever wins, I picked Amanda, but I feel like there will be a finish in that fight regardless. In this fight with Alexander and Max Holloway, I feel like this is one that's going to go to the decision. We've seen that Max is a guy that can go 5 rounds pretty easy. Alexander's a very tough guy. I believe it was Alexander's last fight. Was that his last fight where he fought
Aldo?
Who did he fight? Aldo. Thank you very much. And it was kind of not the most exciting fight on the card,
right?
But you could see that he's looking to do the right things, make the right moves to win the fight, and he's gonna have to fight extra in that manner if he plans on beating Max Holloway that night. Max is I believe Max is on the charts is around 5'9.5" or something. Alexander's around 5'5", so there will be a 4-inch or so height. But he's got the reach, he's got the size, he puts on that size, and he's got the pace. Max loves to push the pace. He gets on you. He throws punches and bunches. Not any one of those punches really are trying to knock you out. He goes to the target, retracts it so that the other one can come just as fast. I like Alexander. I actually have enjoyed watching him when I'm
Yes.
He's very I think he's charismatic. He's very a fun guy to watch.
Yes.
I enjoyed kind of learning how he is as a person, watching everything, and I've liked him more watching it. I just don't see this fight going in his favor, but I do think it goes to the decision. I think he's a very tough guy with a good chin, and he's a smart fighter. I think he has a good IQ on the game, but I think Max's pace is going to be a little bit too much for him.
Yeah, I mean, beating Jose is no joke. He beat Chad Mendes before that, and I agree with you. He's a very likable guy. Also, what I like is the fact that he got the shot, right? I mean, he worked his way up, and for sometimes it looks like, oh, they're going to go with the Ortegas, and obviously Brian had earned it as well. But the name brand or people's names that we know a little bit more. And for a while, Volkanovski was a guy who didn't have as much name recognition, but everyone was like, that dude's tough, and finally won those fights. And I think that was able to, obviously got this title shot, well deserved. And regardless of what happens in it, he's a man that's going to be very dangerous at the top of this roster for a really long time. And that's the thing, is if he doesn't even win, he's still a major problem for a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, I don't have anything. I've said it. I think it goes there. I think it goes all 5 rounds, but I think Max is victorious and still.
Question to you, though. I know you're a big Poirier fan, and you guys know each other. You guys like each other a lot. Do you think there is anything, though, in Max's head about he finally did lose a fight? And how will that play with his confidence and that kind of stuff?
I don't know. We could look into it very deeply. He lost the fight. He lost a rematch. So he's lost twice to somebody. Right. So somebody does have his number. And it was a substantial amount of damage that Max Holloway took in that fight in front of his son. Something that he may not admit to his brain being rattled after the fight, but it was one of those that he needed some time off. He needed to rest up. So we could look into the little things about that, about, is his chin, how is he going to hold up in the fight? But the thing about Max is his resilience is one thing that has always impressed me. Look at who he's lost to. He lost to Dustin Poirier early in his career, came back, started killing it. His next loss, I believe, was to Conor McGregor, came back after that, killed it again, had the rematch. He has his losses in his career, but he's always been very resilient, came back, fought like nothing happened, and put on a show. Going into this fight, the build-up, the embedded, the videos that I'm seeing, it looks like same old Maxie, baby. You know what I mean? I'm not seeing a guy that's hesitant. I'm not seeing a guy whose confidence was taken away. The guy's carefree, lighthearted, still hitting the mitts at 20% speed, which I don't understand. Like, when I'm in fight week, everything is amped up. I want to do to the mitts like I'm going to do to my
Right.
opponent. Max loves to just sit there and put in slow repetitions, but then he's able to turn it up to flip that switch when the
Right.
fight comes. It's not my style, but it works so well for him. But from what I've seen from Max, nothing has thrown him
Right.
Off. His confidence is there, and I think he's going to perform on Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, he came back after that and he beat Frankie Edgar. So it isn't like, you know, it lingered. Obviously, that's something that he was able to do. But I mean, the size difference with him and Frankie was pretty massive. But yeah, no, obviously it didn't affect him. But you know, again, as it wears on with you as a champion, there is still that thing of like, I have lost now. You know, that feeling that comes with the invincibility of never having lost. Obviously, he did shake it off and got the win over Frankie. But
I'll say,
go ahead.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I was going to say, I think the thing that plays into Max's favor with that is obviously he wants to be the best. You know, the best is blessed and all his whole thing. But Max is very shrewd with us. He's very real with the fans and the media, right? You know, he's like, yeah, it didn't go my way. You know, like, you know, I'm going to go back. You know, he's very just kind of like, whatever. I believe in myself. I lost the fight. He's not a guy that puffs his chest out and says, nobody can beat me. I'm the best in the world. Like, he doesn't play that game of like, I got to be scary. I got to intimidate people. I got to, you know, he's just very real. And so I think that plays into the favor of, you know what, you lose, so what? Sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. And so it keeps him real with that when he does happen to lose, coming back strong again.
It is what it is.
It is.
It is what it is. Love me some Maxi Baby. All right, so we're saying there are 2 and stills. I feel like the last fight is maybe the hardest one to call with Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington. Kamaru, you know, it's funny, it kind of goes right with what you were just saying, like the whole, I got to puff my chest, I got to big up myself and all that. That is what Kamaru does. He definitely does. Hello, hi. Every now and then my own hand gets caught in there. He does kind of big up himself, beat his chest. I mean, obviously, to be able to take out Tyron Woodley was a very huge accomplishment. And so Kamaru has every right to feel like a total badass. He's going up against Colby Covington, who, however you feel about him, if you're just purely stripping it down to his fight skill, is a very good fighter, doesn't get tired, is able to stick to a plan, maybe isn't as powerful, but, you know, is consistent with that pressure, and he will be there the whole entire time. I'm curious what your take is on this in terms of the emotional element, because I do feel like there could be the fear of both of these guys being in there and being too emotional about how badly they want to beat the other guy, what's at stake, all of that. What's your take?
This is a very emotional fight, and this is a very hard one to pick. You would think that you asked me this question, you asked us, you asked MMA Heat this question a couple months ago, a year ago. Colby Covington is getting killed. That was my answer. If Colby Covington fought Tyron Woodley, he was getting beat up. If Colby Covington fought Kamaru Usman, he was getting beat up. Yeah. I'm not so sure anymore, Karyn. I really am not. And it's a couple of things. And I try to push the emotional or political or just anything aside. And I try to just look at the skills, not the trash talk and all this other stuff. But it's also hard. It's hard to pick these fights without thinking about it, because mentality, the mind is such a big aspect of this, right? And both of these guys are in each other's head. But if I had to pick a winner, Colby Covington is winning the trash talk or who's in whose head more, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He's in Kamaru's head. When you watch Kamaru Usman talk, his interviews are never really about like, how are you really feeling, or how do you feel, or like what's good with you. It's always like, oh man, I'm gonna trash it. Like it's in a way that, and it's one thing to say, look, I'm gonna beat this dude, but I feel like it's Colby being in Kamaru's head. Yeah. So like you said a while ago, Kamaru is reacting to it as, I'm gonna puff my chest, I'm gonna take my shirt off and show my muscles. I'm gonna always blow that smoke whenever the question comes up, because I'm the baddest man on the planet and I'm the guy that dethroned Tyron Woodley. And I don't know if that's the right approach. I almost feel like I want him to be hungry in a humble way. That's maybe my preference, but I feel like what he's doing is he's reacting to what Colby wants him to react to. Colby's gonna go in there and like a machine, like he always does. He trash talks. Colby's done this before. Kamaru is not as used to this back and forth game. The mental warfare, you could tell it's new to him. He's not as good at it. Yeah. And it's affecting the way that he responds to questions, where Colby Covington is on autopilot. This is what he does.
Right.
He's having fun with it. Yes, we've heard stories about guys at the gym, and his people around him, him feeling like he's in danger.
Right.
But as far as the fight inside of the octagon that night, right now, I'm kind of giving Colby Covington the advantage. Although I think Kamaru is probably the bigger, better fighter, a little bit stronger and physically stronger. Yeah. I think when they embrace, though Colby might have a higher decorated wrestling background, as did T Wood, it was shown that we're not looking at 100% of the aspect of wrestling. We're looking at when the two guys entangle against the cage, who's bigger, stronger at the one or two moves that they're going to do. And I think it would be Kamaru. But Colby Covington pushes that pace. And will Kamaru try to blow smoke up, puff his chest up inside the cage, and it backfire on him?
Yeah.
I don't know. I know that was a lot. I kind of danced around the question. I danced around the answer, Karyn. I apologize. But I'm really still on the fence with this one. I see something in Kamaru that tells me I'm not quite sure. One last thing. I'm going to hand it off to you. I don't want to take everything from you. I feel like Colby Covington has gotten better every single fight. Kamaru, but Colby Covington has shown more progress every fight. Colby Covington and everything that he said, I believe this. He says, I'm in the best shape of my life. Yeah. This is the best I've ever been. I've learned more. I've got more in my arsenal than I've ever had in my life. I'm more than ready. And I believe it. It. Whereas when I'm not seeing that from Kamaru, he's more saying, I'm going to knock this guy out. He don't know. And I feel like he might have some injuries or something that he's hiding. So he's using the intimidation factor to try to cover it. So for that reason, that is why I'm siding with Colby more than I ever have before for this fight. I'm not saying I'm dead out picking him, but I'm leaning his way more than I ever have, and I've never picked Colby. But there's something about this fight that's telling me that I'm unsure about it.
Well, yeah. Now you brought up a lot of good points. Kamaru was injured, and so that is part of the story.
Do you know what the injury was? Do you know any of that?
Yeah, I believe it was something with his leg.
Yeah, I think so too, because I see he's wearing knee braces on both knees, so that tells me it's something on there.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest with you, sometimes we talk about stuff at work that I don't feel I need to disclose to the world. Right. But,
well, I mean, I've seen every training video that he puts a knee brace on on both knees, so it was kind of obvious to a lot of people, I think.
Right. I walk a line sometimes, Alan, and I feel like sometimes I know some stuff that would be a little insider trading or whatever. So I will defer from that, answering that fully. But
nice.
But to your point, yes, I feel that Colby definitely has the edge in the emotional game because he's faking it all, right? He's faking this persona, which, the Mark Raimondi article just came out where he's admitting it, right? We all knew it all along anyway, right? But that he just created the persona to save his job and to get, signed, because Sean Shelby had said that, they weren't interested in re-signing him. So he found an angle. He and Dan Lambert and whomever down at ATT, they found an angle. The angle worked. And it got him job security a little bit more. And obviously winning the fights totally helps him too. And so Colby is doing a lot of things right in that way in terms of building his career to make you care. Whether you want to see him win or lose, it kind of doesn't matter, right? As long as you tune in. Yeah. So he very clearly, to me, I think has the emotional edge because he's not really invested in that character, perhaps. And he can just, if I knew all I had to do was go pick on somebody and I honestly didn't care and I could just make up being this total jerk, like it would be very easy. Whereas I think it is hard. Yeah, and it'd be fun, to be honest with you. If you just told me to go pick on somebody and roast somebody, it'd be hilarious and fun. It's not as fun if you actually care and have something invested. So I think it is harder for Kamaru during this whole process. But also it is interesting now with Colby, with all the fight stuff. Yes, I think Kamaru has more power to him. We saw him, he has that one knockout over Sergio, and they kind of been using that in the promo and trying to build up Kamaru maybe more as they don't want it to look like two wrestlers against each other, even though when two wrestlers go against each other, a lot of time we do get a striking battle. But there's a lot about Kamaru that makes me believe it will be and still. Like, I really do have a lot of faith in him. He's undefeated. There's a lot about Kamaru that he does absolutely right.
Yeah.
Really, to me, it comes down to his inner monologue in this fight going, holy effing, you know what? I can't lose to this guy. Because that's how you hear that after the fact with some of these other fighters that faced him. They're like, I just couldn't lose to that guy. And I feel like that could really paralyze you in your movements.
Yeah, no, it's very true. Again, I've had that when I fought Mike Perry, who
Right.
I'm a fan of now. But
He's
when I
such a
fought
good
Mike
dude.
Perry,
Yeah.
he knocked everybody out. Every one of his fights were knockouts, and I
Right.
go, I can't lose, because not only would I lose and him trash talk me, but I'm gonna be on his highlight reel every time he fights,
Right.
and I can't let that happen. I agree. Usman is a really great. He's a deserving champion. He's a beast in there. It's very interesting because both of these guys are pressure fighters. Both
Yep.
of them move forward and either put their hands on you and lean on you, or they're right in range.
Mm-hmm.
Two pressure fighters coming forward. I feel like we're going to have a bit of a T. Wood Usman rematch, where two guys are kind of on the cage for the bulk of the fight, and it comes down to the dirty work up in there, or who can lean on the other person the most. And if that's said, I think Usman will be the stronger fighter in the clinch. So that does lean in favor of Usman. Colby, though, having, I think, a little bit better of a gas tank, could scramble out a little bit more, where Tywin really wasn't able to get out off of the fence in some of those times. So, again, this is a very 50-50 pick-up type fight for me.
It's a 50-50 fight. It'll be entertaining. Just the pressure for both of these gentlemen, too, because also, let's be honest, it's not like Colby wants to lose this fight either. Now, he's built up so much with this persona and his, storyline and everything about being the people's champ and everything, all this stuff that he's going with. He has also created a pressure situation for himself. I'm not discounting that, but I do think obviously there is more pressure on Kamaru. So, well, folks, on this edition, since we were basically just doing those title fights, we really want to get your feedback on these two. If you think it's Ann Still or Ann Nunes or just in general, right? Don't you think, Alan? I'm curious what people's take is.
Yeah, I mean, I could see a lot of people just saying Ann Still for the whole entire, all three title fights. But I'll be curious mainly so in the main event. I mean, the main event one is going to be a pick-em. And obviously, I think people are going to be picking with their heart a little bit more than their head in that one. Yeah. But I'd be curious to see what everyone has to think about.
Yeah, well, and as we mentioned, the card has other picks, like Mike Perry, the wild man. Mike Perry's on this fight card too. He really is. It's funny because he is a guy I've gotten to know a little bit more over the time being on the road, and he is a good dude. He's an entertaining guy. I know he's said and done some pretty out there things, but he's a little wild. But Ian Heinisch is on this card. I did an interview with Ian Heinisch earlier today, so I'm not sure what's getting edited first, but please definitely look for that as well. And I did a no wrong answers with Ian as well. But Ian's got a really interesting story. Obviously, we know this guy that was in jail and all this, and he's coming off the fight with Derek Brunson that didn't go his way, so he's looking to turn it back around. So we talked a lot about that. We got Aldo cutting to 35, which is going to be a huge storyline. So a lot of other stuff to watch too.
And Uriah Faber's on this card.
Faber's
too, right?
on it.
Crazy, man. I mean, there's some really interesting fights on this card.
Good stuff. All right, Alan, I can be found at Karyn Bryant on Twitter and on YouTube. That's Karyn. Bryant Lazin Kobe, even though I'm a Celtics fan. On Instagram, KB Heat. Also, obviously, you can follow MMA Heat across the board, and you can find this show on MMAHeat.com. Alan, where can they find you?
Exactly, guys. And if you want to follow me, check me out at Alan Jouban, across the board with everything.
Nice. So yeah, this is on MMAHeat.com. It's on my YouTube channel and also as an audio download on MMA.audio. So yeah, I guess the next time we talk, it'll be like, were they Ann Stills or Ann Nunes? Who knows what happens? It's going to be interesting.
Waiting to see, yeah.
All right,
we'll
folks.
see if we were right about everything.
Yeah, we'll see. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Take care, everyone.